Careful with it. Careful.
Okay. We wanted to come on in and let people be able to be part of this as we proceed with the ribbon cutting. I'm Tom Neal, your director of the Museum of the Gulf Coast, and we've got a great staff here. Robert Fong is our curator. We have Becky Gitry, who takes care of our administrative assistant, and she also is over the gift shop. And yes, she would like you to stop by the gift shop today. And then we have also Brittany Del Garza, who's our education coordinator. And we're putting the fingers out. We're working this thing as we open back from out on the other side of COVID. One thing you will notice, if you will, we have redirected our attention to kids. We know the adults get this. They see this stuff hanging off the walls and they understand it. But the kids look at that and say, what's wrong with the adults? Why do they have all this stuff hanging off the walls? Well, we sit them down in front of that 55-inch kiosk out in the notable people area, and we introduce them to a guy by the name of Kelly Asbury. Now, and I introduce a lot of adults to Kelly Asbury as well. But he's the animator and director of Shrek, Toy Story, Romeo and Juliet, Nightmare Before. I mean, I can just go on a list of all these things that he's been involved with, and that's their land. I mean, I have their full attention. And then we play a video of him talking about growing up here, so it just gives them a connection. Then, after that, they look around the room and they understand, okay, all these people are here because they have a backstory. And so that opens the door for us to be able to talk about the people that are here. And that's why this place is so valuable. And before I forget about it, Becky also reminded me to be sure and ask y'all to consider a membership. If you're not a member, we notify you of things that are here. Is David Steinberg here?
Yes, sir.
Raise your hand. Come up here just a second, if you will. He never saw this one coming. No, I didn't. David is our newest life member of the Museum of the Gulf Coast. All right. David will be in the lobby if you want to hit it. But thank you, David. But that's what we're focusing on. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and so we count on your gifts and things of support. And which brings us why we're here today. We had some folks that reached out to us in ways that just couldn't imagine. Ron and Susan, we had lunch. Don't ever have lunch. You got to watch that. And so with lunch, we talked about the future and what the possibilities could be. At that time, we've been hemorrhaging because we have so many people that we need to add to our exhibits, but no place to put them. And so our first one to tackle was this one. And we're going to Sports Next. In fact, we just put a screen up in that area. But we're soliciting donations for that to help us carry this thing through. But this area, just is, now we're able to, just whoever comes up. And by the way, when you talk to kids and you tell them to go do something, they're looking for somebody, first thing they do is start looking for somebody who might show them how to do it, right? Well, that's why we introduced them to these 200 people here. We say, all of them slept where you slept, all of them ate where you eat. And somebody else heard me say that over and over again. But you know what? If you're looking for an example, you got some great examples here. People did some things that did mistakes, and some great things that did well, and it's a great learning ground for them. So that's why we're really focused on that, and it's making a real difference. Now, I'm back to Ron and Susan Arsenault. Susan, I got to finish this pretty soon because Susan's been upset about this thing. And I don't want her to be upset. I said, you're supposed to have fun. This isn't good. And we've been trying to do this, and it's been hard on her because we've been trying to do this for over 2 years. After this thing started, then we'd try to find a time where everybody feels comfortable to come out and support them. And we're so glad that they're here and so grateful for what they've done. They provided funding for us to flip this thing around. We have more places to exhibit people. And one thing we do, we've had a lot of people in here that have a picture and they have a write-up, and that's kind of cool. So we've addressed that through this kiosk system behind me, the electronics. Now you can hear somebody. You may not remember the name of the artist, you may not remember the name of the song, you may not remember Jive and Gene, but I mean, hey, you learn about all these people. You wouldn't believe the range of people we have. And I had to pick on you, Gene. Thank you very much. Jive and Gene, where are you? Stick your hand up. I would like to just stop real quick and acknowledge our board members that are here. I don't think I pick everybody up. Would you please raise your hand and wave at us? Please, I appreciate our board members here and our president of the Historical Society.
All right.
Okay, for Susan's sake, we'll get on with this.
Okay, Ron and I've got a few things to say because this means a lot to both of us, and he'll explain in a minute why. But I want to first thank our family and our friends and members of the Museum of the Gulf Coast and the Port Arthur Historical Society for joining us today in this great celebration. Ron and I are very honored with your presence today as the Museum of the Gulf Coast rededicates the New Music Hall of Fame exhibit. We've been blessed in so many ways throughout our lives, and with our business being so successful and having opportunities from Port Arthur and the surrounding communities, we've contemplated for a long time on how we could return something meaningful to this community. When that opportunity happened by chance, as Tom said, in 2017. So it's been a long time coming.
You've been holding your breath a long time.
We were at a function here, and it was a Christmas dinner. And anyway, Tom asked if we could meet with him. We approached him. He said, sure. So we had lunch, and from there, we decided on what we would do. And we, after we met with him, we were so, he had enthusiastically mapped out a vision of what a new Hall of Fame for music would look like. Well, it was catching, and we both jumped at the chance to give a meaningful and lasting gift to this community. Go ahead, Neil. Your turn.
Well, you know, the older you get, sometimes, you know, you can't remember to say all the things that you want to say, so you write them down. Now, Tom, it hasn't affected me. For me, like Susan said, you know, we're honored, of course, with y'all's presence today, but just from a personal point of view, I wanted to tell y'all that music has always been a big part of my growing up, part of our lives. And Susan, she played piano and clarinet. I played guitar as a young kid, but before I did that, I started at a very early age, like 3 or 4, because I've got 2 of the coolest sisters that a guy could ever have, and one of them is here today, my sister Bonnie. I was their DJ. So I was spinning records on the record player, and it was great music. You know, it was people like Johnny Preston, like the Big Bopper, like Jack and Jane Bourgeois. And, you know, later on it kind of morphed into other music like Jimmy Reed and Elvis Presley and Gary U.S. Bonds and Coasters. So all these influences on me at that age just made it, you know, so impactful to the point where a lot of y'all probably remember Steve-O the Night Rider. And I would, you know, after they put me to bed, I would sneak back out, find an AM radio, and start listening to music. So, but anyway, what really changed me was on the night of February 9th, 1964. It was a big night in America because these 4 lads from Liverpool showed up to play on the Ed Sullivan Show. And they were called the Beatles with their mop-top haircuts, and that just changed everything. It changed just not only my influence, but for the world. And so along the way, I was finally able to get into a few bands at a much older age. My first band was called No Way Out. Got one of our members from here, Jane. Ken Payne here. There she is. And we got to open for Chubby Checker. That was a big deal. We also had the Uniques. The Uniques. And later on, I was in a band called Lost Cause. I'm currently in 2 bands, Long Neck Road and with Dick LeMasters, who you'll see a little bit later, and with Barry Davis and the Rolling Bones. We're having a good time. So anyway, that's really about what I wanted to say. I've had the privilege to be on stage with opening for Chuck Berry, Charlie Daniels, Chubby Checker, all these guys, and it's just been a great time. So this was the right thing for us to do. Thank you all for coming out today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
First off, if Tom does approach you to donate, how can you say no to Tom? He has a way with clothes, he's just as smooth as can be. But Ron and I are so very proud to have helped complete his vision. But in addition to Tom, we're very indebted to him and his devoted and hard-working staff. Becky, Robert, Brittany, and Mr. Charlie, who always guards the door. And also to the many volunteers and the generous benefactors of the Port Arthur Historical Society who have made the Museum of the Gulf Coast a lasting gift to our community. To all these people, wonderful people, thank y'all so much.
All right.
I have to say, if I call you to go out to lunch, I'm not always looking for her. We have something we'd like to give you, but I'll tell you what, let's do this ribbon thing first, okay? Let's make this thing official. Come on across here, if you will. No, y'all stay right there. We're going to leave you inside.
I like those.
Oh, wow.
All right.
Hey, Tom, get behind the ribbon, please.
I'm going to get behind the ribbon. I can take instructions.
Does he always do what he says?
This goes this way. Watch yourself because it is sharp. While the two of you kind of grab a hold of this thing. Okay, and y'all have to work this out just like we practice. Okay,
Great.
We would like you to notice a picture on the wall over here, and we have a plaque commemorating your gift. We also have something else we'd like you to take home so you can remember this, because you can't be down here all the time. But this is a plaque we'd like you guys to have to help you remember our event.
Yay.
Okay, now, where's Java Gene? Okay.
He's loading up his guitar.
Java Gene. You want to say something else? Come on.
No, I want Jive Jane to be on the side.
That's what I think. That's what I want to do. See, we have your picture on here. Yeah. Okay, this is how this thing works. So if you ever come
I'll pull you up.
All right.
Okay, Jane. Okay. Let's see. What's that last name? B for
Boudreaux. Is it Boudreaux?
Close enough. Okay. Who's this guy right here?
Buddy Holly.
Okay.
I had hair then.
Come on, tap that thing. Turn it on for us.
What have I got on
They're
there?
musicians.
You're looking good.
Look at that.
Okay, this concludes this part of the ceremony. I think Ron. We want you to have more refreshments. We want you to take in the exhibit downstairs and get a chance also to say something to Susan and Ron. And I think Ron's going to play a few songs later on. So have some fun. So make yourself at home, and thank you so much for being here.
I'm 20 years old, and this is my original band, Calvin Jean and the Jokers.
Now,
Louis Solis, Tommy Sabat, me, Benny Falcon, Raymond Solis.
So when you go to shows, you got to use